Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Alfred Hitchcock Presents review. Today it is Season 1, Episode 27, Help Wanted, starring John Qualen as Mr. Crabtree and Lorne Greene as Mr. X. And this is a very solid episode. It is very entertaining throughout. The pacing and the acting are also very good, and the twist ending is very satisfying. Just a solid episode all the way around. With a few slight little issues here and there. So we start with our main character, Mr. Crabtree, and he's with his wife, who we learn has been sick. She hasn't been doing that well, and he's going over a job letter. It turns out he lost his job because of his age, and he also got very upset about this and really threatened his employer over this, so he's upset by all this. So eventually Crabtree gets a call. They say they got his letter, and they do mention, we might have a job for you, and they inquire about his past behavior, and he says this will never happen again. But strangely enough, the voice on the phone doesn't seem too worried by this. They say they'll be in touch for a job. So a lady comes over to interview him. She says she's a secretary with the company, and she explains his job will be confidential. He'll basically be writing up confidential reports, and he'll be sending them off to an address that he has, and all he really knows about this is that the work is important, but he doesn't really totally understand the job. But knowing the pay is going to be good, he takes the job, and Crabtree's happy because he'll be able to help his wife now. They'll be able to afford the treatments that she needs to get better. So Crabtree goes to work, and we see some brief scenes of him in the office. I guess just to show us that he's doing the job. And then we learn that some weeks go by, and Crabtree's basically at home with his wife, and everything's going well. He's getting paid well, but he says he really doesn't understand the job he's doing. But it seems like because his wife's doing better, he's kind of just going along with this. And I think Crabtree at this point maybe should know that something more is going on. So I do have to say the episode does a good job of building up suspense, as we, the audience, don't really know what's going on either, but it's never boring, it's always interesting. So we go to the next scene, and Crabtree goes to work, and there's a man there. And the man, we'll just call him Mr. X. They never really say what his name is, which is interesting, and they talk for a few minutes about Crabtree's job, but then Mr. X basically says he burns the reports, he doesn't even read them, so we now know this is a cover for something. So Crabtree's very confused by this, as are we, the audience, although we always suspected something more was going on. So Mr. X says he needs another job done, and Crabtree will be paid a year in advance, and he'll be paid very well. Mr. X says he basically needs a man killed. Now Crabtree is saying no way, it's not in him to do this, he can't. And Mr. X points out that he almost killed his last employer when he was fired, and that he has emotions, and he thinks that he can do the job. So now we understand why Crabtree was hired for this. And basically Mr. X explains he's being blackmailed, and there's nothing he can do about it. He needs an outside person to do it because a scandal would destroy him. And Mr. X has everything set up really well so that nothing can be traced back to him. So basically he's trying to talk Crabtree into this, and he comes up with this plan, which seems to be pretty good, but as we know on Alfred Hitchcock Presents, these plans don't usually go the way they're supposed to. So the plan is basically to give this guy an envelope, which the man, the blackmailer, thinks will have money in it, but really it will have a note in it saying that he wanted to kill himself. And at this point, Crabtree will shove the guy out the window, and it will look like the guy just jumped. So it's basically up to Crabtree at this point, and we see him at home with his wife, and he's very conflicted. He can't sleep, but he talks to his wife, who's feeling better, and she seems really excited about her treatment. So it seems like Crabtree's actually going to consider going through with this. So when he goes to the office the next day, at first he keeps the windows closed, but then he opens them. He still seems really conflicted when the blackmailer, or as we'll find out, the supposed blackmailer, comes by, and he asks for a contribution, and we never do learn what this is for. But Crabtree yells at the guy. He really gets mad. He tells the guy it's all your fault, I'm in this situation. And the guy falls out the window, and I have to say it does look accidental. Crabtree's yelling at him, but it doesn't look like he ever pushes him or anything, but the guy does go out the window. And it's to be noted that Mr. X does see this, and as soon as he sees the guy fall, he puts in the mail Crabtree's money. So Crabtree is going to get his money here, it looks like, as long as things work out okay. And I have to say, this is a plot point I thought was a little shaky. If you're Mr. X, don't you go to see who fell out the window and make sure it's the right person? I'm just saying that seemed a little bit strange. So at this point, Mr. X calls Crabtree and says, "You've got the money," even though Crabtree tries to explain, "I didn't really do it." So Crabtree is then questioned by someone who comes in that's investigating, and he says he knows nothing, and everything seems to be to the satisfaction. So then, in the twist of the episode, another man comes in, says he wants a contribution, and we learn this was really the blackmailer. And Crabtree tells him, "You're a little bit too late. Somebody else got your money and also basically went out the window. And if you want an explanation, talk to Mr. X," is what he basically says. And Crabtree says he never existed. So it looks like things will work out well for Crabtree. I'm not sure how well, though, they're going to work out for Mr. X. We never really know, but I have a feeling maybe not too great. So like I said, a solid episode. The twist ending seems a little convenient and kind of predictable, but it works really well in the context of the episode. And Crabtree is an interesting and conflicted character, and the ending of the episode is kind of interesting the way it works out as well. So overall, I think this is a solid episode, and I give Help Wanted a 4 out of 5. Definitely one of the better episodes of Season 1 and an episode worth watching. So 4 out of 5 for Help Wanted, and as always, thank you very much for watching.